Good morning, class. Today we're going to talk about benchmark, lab 5, challenge your hacking skills. My name is Akash Patel from Grand Canyon University. We're going to talk about part A. We have numbers of parts, and the number 1 is penetration testing on Metasploitable 2 VM. Step 1, I'll download the Metasploitable image. Step 2, creating a new virtual machine. This will be done by utilizing the relevant virtual box to install Metasploitable 2. And then we'll be doing configuration on VM VirtualBox to install Metasploitable 2 with configuration on disk and RAM. This will be done in order to create a virtual hard disk drive so that it can later be added on Metasploitable virtual machine disk. Step 4, configuration of a network. Instead of using default network setting for VM, I'll choose bridge network. Step 5, power on the VM. And once the VM boots up, we can see that our Metasploitable VM is ready for penetration testing. And step 6, get the network details of the Metasploitable VM. This is by checking the IP details of Metasploitable VM. This will be used IP to access a Metasploitable dashboard on the browser. Last but not the least, step 7, access the Metasploitable dashboard. Now we can use the same IP to access our Metasploitable dashboard using our any browser. And now we can click on any of the portion to access the respective tools. So the question, why a penetration test is valuable to an organization? There are a number of reasons. Preparation for any attack, like the main reason penetration tests are crucial to an organization's security is that they help personnel learn how to handle any type of break-in from malicious entity. Pen tests serve as a way to examine whether an organization's security policies are genuinely effective. They serve as a type of fire drill for any organization out there. Risk identification. Pen tests also offer insight to which channels in any organization or application are most at risk, and thus what type of new security tools one should invest in or protocols we should follow. This process should help uncover several major system weaknesses that may not have been even thought about. It also decreases the amount of errors. Penetration testing reports are also assist developers in making few errors. When developers understand exactly how a malicious entity launches an attack on an application, operating system, or any other application they help develop, they will become more dedicated to learn more about security and less likely to make similar mistakes going forward. Talking about how to handle failures in the procedures. To handle a hanging machine, I will consider to upgrade RAM for better performance while multitasking. Also, to fix internet connection problem, I will consider restarting my equipment. To fix a failure in incompatible application, I will consider finding up my system feature and installing application that matches my system's specification. Part B, NMAP Scan. When Metasploitable 2 is up and running and you have the IP address and you want to start your scan. Here is a screenshot. Now, Nikto Scan. For my case, I use a school website to conduct all operation instructed to be done by scanning gcu.edu to some types of information that Nikto Scan shows. After it connects to port 443, we see that there's some useful information about the super and list of other details like the server is Cloudflare. Here's a screenshot. Now you can see the OWASP zap scan. The input, the URL is gcu.edu and ran the tag as represented below. This is what we saw on the next. This is a Nexus scan. Talking about part C, risk assessment and gap analysis of second scan. X-XSS protection header missing. Any pages on this website should be at risk of cross-site scripting attack, which is also called as XSS attack. And the HTTP X.XSS protection response header is a feature of Internet Explorer, Chrome, and Safari that stops pages from loading when they detect a reflected cross-site scripting attack. X content type operation header missing. Missing X-frame operation header means that the website should be at risk of click checking attack. X-frame option HTTP header field indicates a policy that specifies whether the browser should render transmitted resources within a frame or an iframe. HTTP response header X-frame option is an optional feature that can be set for website in server configuration files. The countermeasures to mitigate vulnerabilities, I suppose that in order to protect the website against XSS protection header missing, escape user input by escaping means to convert the key characters in data that a web page receives to prevent the data from being interpreted in any malicious way. Validate user input and sanitize data. I suppose that in order to protect a website from X content type of options header missing, it could be by double clicking the HTTP response header icon in feature list in the middle. In the action pane on the right side, click add and dialog box that appears, type X-frame option in the name field and type same origin in the origin field. Click OK to save your changes. Sorry about this. Just maybe the new the PPT version that has been showing clicks to edit. It used to show normal before. I really sincerely apologize for that. Now the expected result for the previous, the website will stop pages from loading when they detect a reflected cross-site scripting attack. The website will be protected against MIME sniffing vulnerabilities. Now how strategy reduces risk and hardens your system. Now the question, well, the answer will be that since the website will stop pages from loading when they detect reflected cross-site scripting attacks, this will prevent an attacker to circumvent the same origin policy, which is designed to segregate different websites from each other, hence hardening the system. Since the website will be protected against MIME sniffing vulnerabilities, the system will be hardened by any kind of intruder by the practice adopted by the browsers to determine the effective MIME type of a web resource by examining the content of the response instead of relying on the content type here. Talking about part D, once we are done changing the setting, we can start Metasploitable. The login and the password are both MSFAD MIN. After logging in, we can leave the running and start up the Kali Linux. From there, we can work with the Metasploit framework on Kali Linux. As you can see on the screen, this is what we did. And talking about the part E, last but not least, reasons to implement the changes. If I could have managed to implement the changes, I would have implemented changes on X content type option heading missing and XSS protection heading missing, since it's only about configurations, hence it's less critical. Host name not matching the certification name. Now, lessons learned from hardening system. There are lots of lessons, but I'll discuss the top 5. Theoretically, the lesson I learned from the biggest mistake companies made during system hardening since I started pursuing information security are failure to have a cutting-edge, comprehensive information security plan. Number 2 will be failure to view system hardening as a business problem and not just an IT problem. Third, false reliance on an absolute perimeter protection strategy versus data-centric strategy. Fourth, false reliance on cyber products and antivirus. 5, failure to understand the true significance of insider threat. That's all, everyone. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you next week.